A bloodthirsty mob surrounds our girl, screaming for a witch hunt. Purge the empire. Burn the witch. Bound in chains, she's helpless as the crowd demands her cursed tongue be fed to the hounds. She prays to the Heavenly Mother. Is this her tragic end? Meanwhile, a man prepares to list her crimes. His words seal her fate at the stake for her alleged blasphemy and total disdain toward the Empire. Her crimes? Playing a fake saint and trying to off the Empress out of pure jealousy. How dramatic! Yet the victim, Empress, looks awfully smug, sporting a wicked grin instead of a shocked face. Totally suspicious. Ignoring the bloodthirsty cries for her execution, our golden-haired girl just gazes at the heavens. She tells the goddess her only true sin was her utter helplessness while trapped in a forced lie. Forced into a fake role, she laments never becoming a real saint. Now a crown of thorns bites her brow. As flames roar and the mob howls for her death, she finally accepts her fiery fate. Game over? She accepts the price for her lies, but wonders, what divine karma awaits the snakes who forced her hand? She begs the goddess to annihilate the villains who staged her life. Send them to total destruction? She vows never to love again. Suddenly, the Heavenly Mother's divine hand wraps around Alicia. I've heard your prayers, my dear child, the mother whispers, answering her desperate plea. Her only sin was loving too much. The goddess grants a redo right as the flames consume her. Glimpsing a mysterious dark-haired woman, her life flashes before her eyes as the end draws near. Memories of her wedding and fake sainthood blur together, but a new promise of love awaits her now. Promised a life of abundant love, Lady Alicia jolts awake with a terrified scream. What a nightmare! Her panicked maid rushes over, but Alicia can only mutter one terrifying thing. I was burning. Poor Izzy is in tears, explaining that Alicia's been out cold and unresponsive for days. She finally woke up. Somewhere else, a rather grumpy-looking Monsignor receives thanks for her recovery. This silver-haired guy is the hero who saved her? But let's rewind to her days as the Empire's darling. Back then, Alicia was the Empire's golden girl. Every appearance was a total fan frenzy for the saint. Fans clamored for a glimpse of her radiant face, basking in the morning sun like a true superstar. She'd give a graceful wave to the crowds who camped out since dawn just for a blessing. From harvest prayers to family peace, she was their perfect icon. Not a single flaw in sight. But here's the tea, it was all a massive lie. Alicia was nothing but a high-end puppet. She was just following a script. It all started 1 year ago with a prophecy about golden light. Cerulean gems and golden light would guide the emperor? This ancient tongue prophecy was super cryptic. Ancient languages are tricky, one wrong translation and the meaning flips. So the experts stepped in. Usually scholars debate it, but the Central Pantheon suddenly dropped their own convenient version of the truth. Their hot take? The saint must be a blonde-haired, blue-eyed beauty. Talk about specific requirements. The hunt was on. The Pantheon scoured the empire for any girl who fit the saint aesthetic. Every blonde beauty was rounded up for evaluation, and our girl Alicia was in the lineup. She introduced herself, a name now forgotten, as the precious only daughter of a powerful duchy. Hailing from the house of Sicilian, this noble lady was the perfect fit for their prophecy. She looked the part, perfectly hair like spun gold, and a vibe that screamed prophesied saint. With sky blue sapphire eyes, Alicia became the saint everyone adored. Who would even dare to question her? She was the ultimate poster girl for the goddess. But behind the perfect saint, a total facade. The Pantheon crafted her mask, but it slipped when she was alone. Lunchtime. But no joy here. Her meal arrives and Alicia sighs. Is this also part of His Excellency's grand plan? How depressing. The maid confirms her starvation diet. He wants her to eat as little as possible. Looking at her sad plate, it's clear why she's annoyed. The man who made her is a total control freak. He micromanages everything, her meals, her sleep, even when she's allowed to blank. Such toxic vibes. Every breath she takes is monitored. And her marriage to the prince? Just another forced scene? Her life was a cruel stage play, and she was merely a puppet following a forced script. This arranged marriage was a gilded cage, yet it remained her only hope for survival. Staring at the depressing meal, she wondered if her stomach would ever see food again. Hunger versus duty. His Excellency barged in, demanding the saint follow him immediately. Alicia scrambled to her feet, but his cold gaze landed right on her pathetic, untouched plate. "You have eaten plenty," he sneered. "Time to go. No more stuffing your face." Plenty? She had barely touched her fork. She tried to protest his ridiculous math. Not even a single bite in, and he was already cutting her off with a glare. He played the holy card, gaslighting her for being too attached to basic human survival. He sighed like a martyr, claiming a true saint should not care about a simple lunch. "Need more instructions?" He hissed, his hand clamping down on her arm like a cold vice. "Fix your face," he commanded. A saint must smile even when the world is ending. He reminded her of her one job: look pretty, act holy, and flash a divine smile. Trembling and in pain, Alicia forced a fake grin while holding back her salty tears. Shoving the saint away, he announced the king was terrified and dying for forbidden knowledge. With the king's clock ticking, the man acted like guiding a soul was a VIP privilege. Claiming to be a humble servant, he dragged Alicia toward the royal chambers like luggage. He tried a gentle tone for 2 seconds before his true, nasty colors leaked out. "Shut up and look divine," he barked. Then the grand entrance. The Empire's saint arrives. A sea of people parted as she walked the red carpet of doom toward His Majesty. Acting 101, the saint enters. The king, shaking like a leaf, begged for a miracle. His Majesty's dying wish? Absolution for dark secrets committed 25 years ago. System error. Alicia's saintly mask cracked because she had zero clue what he had done. She was just a girl with no magic. How was she supposed to play God? The king spiraled into despair, and Alicia's tongue tied itself into 1,000 nervous knots. "Wait, that is not it," she stammered, but a dying man with guilt never listens. Haunted by his past, he grabbed her hand, sobbing for a mercy she could not give. Alicia panicked as the old man begged for a final blessing to soothe his soul. A coughing fit shook his frail body, making the guards jump, but he held on. "Please, just breathe," she cried. But his desperation was becoming way too much for her. She yanked her arm back, shouting for him to stop. She squeezed her eyes shut. Thud. The king was down, and suddenly the room turned into a screaming medical emergency. "I did not do it!" Alicia gasped, just as the prince walked into the chaos. Prince Victor demanded answers, his face hardening as the guards started shaking with fear. The verdict? The king had passed. Every eye in the room pinned Alicia down. Alicia tried to speak, but her brain stalled. Victor's gaze was sharper than a sword. "Start talking," he growled. Alicia was 1 second away from a total mental breakdown. The fiery prince wanted blood. Alicia tried to explain, but the Excellency was faster. Like a pro-tier snake, he bowed to the prince and started weaving a web of lies. Our saint just granted the king eternal peace, he claimed with absolute, chilling confidence. The body was not even cold before he started talking about the royal throne succession. "Hold it right there!" A voice boomed, crashing the Excellency's little power trip. He called out the divine servant for being a fraud who ignored the actual princes. Why the rush to bury the king and crown a new one? He challenged. They had not even checked for a will, but the man was already prepping his counterattack. Snarking at the Chancellor's tiny worldview is exactly why he chose to end this drama fast. Before the insults fly, a mysterious messenger crashes the party with a royal letter in hand. The Emperor's personal handwriting instantly wipes that smug, greedy grin off the old man's face. It is a win for our saint. She mocks the grumpy Chancellor with the Emperor's final wishes. Seems the Emperor was a genius who foresaw this chaos and left a will to settle it. He plays his best card. The saint the supposed living mascot for the Heavenly Mother herself. He asks her to verify the will, leaving the poor, nervous girl caught in his trap. Alicia is shaking like a leaf after the drama, but she has zero ways to say no. She starts reading, "My long journey ends today, and it is time for my final rest. I trust that my son and heir Victor is the only one fit for the throne. I know the Empire's holiness will cover whatever personality my son might be missing as emperor." Alicia finishes the letter, officially flipping the prince's entire life upside down in 1 second. The Duke instantly drops to his knees like a loyal puppy before his brand new emperor. The losers are seething, but nobody can argue with a dead man's very specific last words. Victor is king. Time skips forward as Alicia and her man play house in their new roles. The couple meets to fix the morning schedule, looking every bit like the ultimate power pair. Suddenly, a buzzkill advisor interrupts to ask about the little problem down in the south. A terrible famine and zero harvest? Yeah, that sounds like a massive headache for the crown. Alicia senses her husband's "I'm about to be a jerk" mood and tries to intervene sweetly. "Dinner for two?" she asks hopefully, but the emperor reacts like she offered him poison. He calls her a bother, leaving the poor girl totally crushed by his icy cold attitude. Victor bails for a meeting, and Alicia scrambles after him, desperate to close the distance. "Did I do something wrong?" she cries, wondering why her husband is acting like a stranger. He's been a total robot since the funeral. Is he finally disappointed in his fake saint? Terrified of her missing holy powers, she trembles and begs for a chance to do better. She spirals into guilt, thinking the emperor might still be alive if she weren't a fraud. Victor just asks, "Is that all?" before calling her whole emotional breakdown a waste of time. The mask slips. He reveals his true face, claiming his past kindness was just a temporary act. "I gave you snacks and attention, what more do you want?" Talk about a romantic fail. He struts out, leaving Alicia staring at a man she doesn't even recognize anymore. Flashback to their wedding. The worried bride asked if he was truly happy with this arrangement. He played the clueless in love card perfectly back then. Everything happened so incredibly fast. Everyone whispered it was just for the prophecy, but he swore his love was the real deal. Kneeling before her, he swore she was his one and only in a total romance novel move. He kissed her hand with that puppy dog gaze that would fool any girl on earth. It was a flawless performance, and Alicia fell head over heels for his scripted charm. Now she lies alone in the dark, realizing her fairy tale was actually a horror story. You can't blame her. She was just a pawn being played by that manipulative old snake. Even the sky looks miserable and ready to cry. Suddenly, something weird catches her eye. She runs to the balcony and spots a creepy black mass staining the midnight sky. Dark smoke is everywhere, but apparently she is the only one with spooky vision tonight. Wait, is that Victor? She rushes to the door, dying to know what he is doing out there. She crashes right into a maid. "My lady, where are you going in such a rush?" Alicia ignores the chaos, sprinting to save her husband from whatever that dark smoke is. Others finally notice the sky, but they see beautiful sparkles while she sees impending doom. Our saint is shook to everyone else. That dark mist looks like holy light. Finally, her husband arrives. She rushes to him, but the sky has other plans. Someone's falling. Alicia watches in total disbelief. Victor plays hero, catching the mystery girl in his arms. The second she wakes up and locks eyes. Victor coos, "Are you hurt?" Faster than a viral post, rumors fly that she's the actual saint. Descending from heaven is a solid resume. Too bad the Empire already has a saint. Awkward. Now everyone's side-eyeing Alicia. Later, maids gossip about the witch lurking in the palace. They're livid that a liar still gets a VIP room in the Empress Palace. Talk about drama. Since she faked her status, Alicia is the scapegoat for every bad harvest and local flood. Hiding in the shadows, Alicia hears the latest tea. She's supposedly seducing His Majesty every night, right under the Empress' nose. The maids wonder why this vixen hasn't been tossed out yet. Apparently, the new royal power couple is just too kind-hearted to kick a pathetic girl to the curb. Once Swa dropped from heaven, she snatched the saint and empress titles instantly, leaving Alicia with nothing. Lost in thought in the garden, Alicia's daydream is shattered by a very sharp, very annoying voice. It's Swa, asking how many times she has to repeat herself. The new empress is losing patience. Are you trying to annoy me? Swa sighs. She's bored and was hoping for more palace spice. To Swa, all the saint and empress nonsense is just a giant irritating waste of her time. Alicia's puppy dog eyes don't sit well with Swa. She looms over her like a true villainess. Got a problem with me? Alicia stammers a denial, even as Swa tosses insults like confetti. Swa reminds her to know her place. Who kept your head on your shoulders today? She sneers. Earlier, the high priest vowed the temple would take the heat for the prophecy fail and punish fakes. They're looking for heads to roll to make up for their embarrassing mistake. Pure chaos? Victor couldn't care less about politics. He's too busy being captivated by the true holy vibes. The old man confirms it. The temple officially recognizes the skydiver as the one true saint. I wouldn't trust them either, but the girl literally fell from the clouds. Can't argue with gravity. His Excellency demands Alicia be stripped of her saint title and encourage her to quit as empress. Victor asks for her opinion, but with zero allies, a broken Alicia has no choice but to agree. But the Chancellor wants blood. A simple resignation doesn't make up for her treacherous lies. Another fossil pipes up since the blonde knowingly stole the throne. She deserves a brutal punishment. The old guys are ready to lock her up, but then the true saint raises her hand. Swa asks to speak, and Victor gives her a smile that's way too charming for this situation. Playing the angel, Swa makes a suggestion. We cut back to the present where things get heated. Don't forget who saved your life, Swa reminds her, her voice dripping with cold authority. She demands Alicia remember who kept Victor from throwing her into the deepest, darkest dungeon. It was your mercy, Saintess, Alicia whispers. Swa just scoffs, clearly irritated by the blonde's face. Grabbing her roughly, Swa reminds her that she was forced to take her titles and jobs. I even invented this assistant role just to save your skin. Swa's ego is truly off the charts. Then comes the slap. Swa strikes Alicia, fueled by pure spite for the girl's existence. Alicia hits the dirt, and get this, she actually apologizes to her attacker. Talk about a tragic lead. Swa doubles down on the bullying, acting like the victim while kicking the poor girl. Alicia tries to speak, but a boot to the ribs shuts her up. Swa spots a brooch. If you're really sorry, you won't mind if I take this little trinket, right? Swa smirks. Alicia panics, begging her to stop. This is exactly the pathetic reaction the saint was looking for. Finally, some real emotion. Alicia drops to her knees, desperate to save her only treasure. It's a gift from her father, the only thing she has, since she hasn't seen him in months. Swa smirks at the brooch. It's the last piece of Alicia's family she has left. How cruel! Our tragic heroine accepts any penance, refusing to even call for help. But the petty empress shatters her only precious brooch. Talk about cruel. It was her last treasure. Now she's just desperately gathering broken memories. Seizing the moment, Swa decides to drop a hilarious truth bomb. Surprise, her father is rotting in a cage for sacrilege. Funny, right? That's why he never visited. The empress even calls him a fraud. Alicia defends his honor. He hated the saint idea from the start. Swa doesn't care about the truth. She had a script to follow. Plot twist! The whole tragedy was Swa's masterpiece from day one. She leaked those witchcraft rumors herself. Alicia's heart is officially shattered. I did everything you asked, Alicia screams. Swa just shrugs. People are mean. Finally, the realization hits. This isn't a saint, it's a truly wicked witch. But the truth has a price. The villainous queen snaps her fingers. A murder of crows appears. Alicia's like, girl, what now? Swa lets out an Oscar-winning scream. Help! The witch is attacking me. The crows strike Swa. She blames Alicia's magic. Peak gaslighting achieved. Swa collapses, looking like a total victim. Cue the royal chaos. The guard rushes in, complaining that everyone is just standing around. Throw the witch in the dungeon. The gossip mill is already spinning. Everyone's shocked. Harming Her Majesty? The audacity of this girl. Attempted murder? Check. Life's end penalty? Alicia is in deep trouble. She hopes Victor still trusts her. Oh, honey, ... You're way too pure. She thinks he's wise. Focus, girl. Is he finally gonna dump her? If only he'd listen. One little mercy for his former flame? Wish granted. Victor arrives, but his Prince Charming mask is slipping. He's clenching his fists in a total rage. This isn't good. Snack. Punishment served. He's writing about the cost of being emperor. Everything is at risk. Alicia doesn't even recognize the scary man anymore. He laughs at her pleas. Apparently she was just too ambitious all along. He starts pulling her hair. This guy is officially a trash tier lead. Did you want to replace the Empress that bad? He sneers. He even blames her for his father's downfall, then he just drops her. I'd never, she cries. He just shoves her. Why'd you hurt Swa? Wounded, Alicia begs for love. Believe me, I'm not a witch. Love? He literally laughs in her face. How dare she say that word? He grabs a hot poker. Let's have a lesson for old time's sake. Cold truth, he never loved her. She was just a ladder to power. No saintly powers, no use. Alicia finally sees the monster. Stop, please, she begs. He just kicks her. Stayed my quiet toy. Now for the branding. He scars her back like a common criminal. Her screams fill the room. He says the ruin actually suits her. Take her nails. Get a confession. Use her father if you must, but a confession isn't enough. He wants the witch to really suffer. Even the guards are confused, but the angry peasants want blood. Nothing calms a mob like seeing a witch in maximum pain. Fate's cold chains tighten. The mob thirsts for witch fire, a fickle crowd turned by a single hand. The guard booms her doom. Her soul belongs to the flames, a sacrifice to the heat. She is cursed to roam the void forever, denied rebirth. Any last words, witch? He sneers. Alicia pauses. If she truly is guiltless, and since this man claims her soul is lost, she vows right there. The snakes who trapped her and spat on her father will pay. For the stains on her honor and her family, she swears a debt of fire. Their souls will rot in the abyss, screaming in a dance of eternal, agonizing torment. Victor just laughs. Why listen to a witch? Her words are nothing but poisonous lies. He barks an order. Rip out that cursed tongue and feed the mutts with it. As darkness falls, Alicia prays for one miracle, the power to burn them all to ashes. The torch drops. God help her, they say. But she only dreams of total annihilation. Alicia's eyes snap open. Izzy is there, fussing over her like a worried mother hen. I was burning, Alicia croaks. Izzy shushes her, blaming a nasty, wild fever. Alicia coughs roughly, sending the poor maid into a frantic, panicked tailspin of worry. She stares at her palm. Salty fluid? Did that really come from her lungs? Izzy pales. The fever wouldn't break. We really thought we had lost you, milady. Fever? Alicia's brain is fog. Suddenly, a mysterious, handsome figure steps into the room. You're still warm. Rest, he says smoothly. Alicia blinks. Who is this gorgeous stranger? That voice is like silk. This silver-haired hottie asks if she is finally back. Izzy practically weeps, thanking His Eminence for his divine help. How can she repay him? Alicia watches Izzy practically pin the poor man against the wall in gratitude. I'm just a cleric, not a doctor, he explains, dodging the maid's intense energy. It wasn't a miracle, just a prayer. but the fever still lingers, stubborn as a mule. He suggests a real doctor as Alicia sits there, her brain still stuck in a reboot. Everything is a blank slate. Why can't she remember a thing? The frustration is real. Outside the room, the silver-haired priest says his goodbyes, his holy job finally done. Izzy bows him out with 1,000 thanks, wishing him a safe trip back. "Izzy," Alicia calls. The maid rushes back, offering soup, a bath, or a buffet. But Alicia's mind is a mess. She doesn't want soup. She wants actual answers. "You said you almost lost me, ... What happened?" Alicia asks, searching the maid's face. It's like waking from a nightmare that's already fading into the shadows of her mind. Izzy blames the heat. "You were drifting between worlds for so long, my lady." Alicia sighs. Maybe it was just a dream? A very vivid and terrifying dream. The maid tucks her in, promising that the fog in her head will clear. "Forget it," Izzy chirps. "If you can't remember, it surely wasn't worth the brain cells." Alicia agrees, letting out a breath. Why stress over a past that's gone to smoke? To celebrate, Izzy reveals the secret weapon. A hearty tomato beef stew is coming. "Beef! Yes, please. I'm starving." Alicia beams, her eyes practically sparkling. Izzy freezes. "Since when?" "You used to be a total salad girl, milady." Alicia shrugs. "Guess the fever killed my inner rabbit?" "I need protein, Izzy." The maid laughs, delighted by the change, and scurries off to grab a bowl. Oh, salads? The very thought makes Alicia want to gag. Meat is the move. Back in bed, Alicia asks how long she's been out. She remembers colorful autumn leaves. "Autumn? Milady, it's summer." Izzy giggles. "You've been out cold for 7 days." The doctors were useless, but somehow she pulled through. It's a true summer miracle. Alicia's stomach is doing somersaults. "That soup, right back up." Everything feels bizarre. Plus, she's a total magnet for seasonal sickness. But forget the nausea, she can't stop dreaming about that cleric's face. He looked like a tired angel. Suddenly, Izzy's voice snaps her back. "Focus, Allie." The maid scolds, but Allie is busy simping for the priest. Turns out, His Eminence is a handsome monk who stayed all night. He spent the night praying for her. My heart, Alicia is moved. She must repay him. Izzy, find that monastery. We're making a donation. Charity work? Izzy is thrilled, but then, bam! The doors fly open. Enter Duke Theodore. He's a total mess of overprotective daddy worries. "Are you okay? Can he walk?" He's literally hyperventilating. Alicia gives a graceful smile while Izzy tries to kick him out. "Sorry, I just missed my precious princess." "What a drama king." Alicia softens, assuring her dad she's fine. Theodore finally breathes. He clings to her hand, terrified of losing her like her mother. Losing her would be his end. Ollie knows he's still haunted. Theodore fumbles in his pocket, pulling out a secret gift. A stunning butterfly brooch. He remembered her mentioning it once. He pins it on her, already planning a matching wardrobe. Winter is coming. We need fluff. He's protecting his fragile flower. He says she's just like Helena ... But Alicia has gone ghost white? That brooch ... Why does it feel like a cold shiver? It's familiar. It's like she's held it before. Theodore notices her chilling stare. Flashback, bringing this very brooch. A life of betrayal and schemes. Alicia screams. The trauma hits her. How could she forget everything? All the pain, the lies. She breaks down in agonizing sobs. Izzy is panicked, but Alicia is drowning in memories of her enemies. Night falls, but the Duke is a pacing mess of anxiety. Izzy reports the bad news. Alicia hasn't eaten and is bedridden. Theodore is desperate for answers. If only she'd just talk. They both sigh in despair, until a soft voice enters. Alicia steps in, looking surprisingly composed and ready for a comeback. Theodore rushes over. "Sweetie, why are you out of bed?"